I am Lilian Fraiji from Brazil, from the Amazon. I study arts and administration, and I am responsible for Labverde platform in the Amazon. Well, I first got in contact with fungi through Juli Simon, that is the mycologist that are here with us. And I totally fell in love for the possibilities of fungi kingdom. Not in the terms of colors, in the terms of shapes, in terms of also how they are also leading important phenomena in nature. They are spread to the atmosphere, they're sporous, and they also help to agglutinate water and to make rain, and also how they connect the forest, right? The wood wide web. So it's hard to don't fall in love. And when you think about the Amazon doesn't have a lot of flowers. It's not very like appealing forest. It doesn't have a lot of ornamental plants. And then when you look at the ground and you see so many shapes of fungi and so many colors, it's the thing. You have this possibility of getting super in love, but you really have to be in contact with this very micro landscape that is the soil. Yeah, so Labverde is a platform combining different sets of knowledge, art, science, anthropology, to create knowledge together. And we are pretty much focused on creating a new sensible regime to talk about environmental issues in the Amazon and also abroad. First, because we are based in the Amazon and we understand the forest as a space for the potential of knowledge, right? Potential of new creations, new ways of knowing, new ways of perceiving, right? So we understand that we can learn also with forest, right? Forests can really teach us, non-human beings can really teach us about so many aspects of life, right? About cycles, about time, about dynamics, social dynamics, right? How the forest works so well together, really can teach us how we also can work well together, in a balanced relationship. I understand the forest as a microorganism. A microorganism, there is this, I love to think the Amazon forest as a hyper object, right? Because it's not connected just, it's not site specific, it's connecting time and space. Because when you think about, it's a super complex system, in the ground at that location, with the first biodiversity on Earth, but it's like shaping the entire planet's climate, right, through the air, the atmosphere. So when you think about that, the Amazon is like exporting a lot of oxygen and also a lot of water through all over the planet and maintaining climate. This is something that we cannot condense, we cannot limit the impact of the Amazon, right? So I really love to understand the Amazon as a phenomenon that really shapes time and space, because when you think about also how many, or not how many, but how many years the cycles of water are going on in the planet. So this means that the Amazon is shaping planet for so many years, you know, through water, also through oxygen. It's the first class that we have in Labverde, is this notion that the forest is anthropogenic forest. You know, perhaps all the forests are anthropogenic, right? But was not man-made, but is a man collaboration, right? So, so in the Amazon, through the Amazonian people knowledge, originary people knowledge, we really understand how to coexist, you know, with the forest. So in the Amazon, there is no such a thing, man and nature, right? Man is combining nature and improving nature and also improve itself. Because the indigenous knowledge is, has a different ontology, right? They learn with a different background, different histories, different way of living. And because, you know, they improve the forest, you know, the first biodiversity in Earth is the first because there is this human contact, you know. It's also like when you think about that, if humans are developing, improving the biodiversity of the forest, is like also this deconstruct the idea of Anthropocene, right? Because Anthropocene, how we like really are breaking and changing, humans are changing the climate and changing geology, right? So if humans in the past has developed and improved, make nature better, you know, so it's hard to understand Anthropocene now, you know, the concept itself. Put us in another condition of humanity when you learn about indigenous knowledge. And also because in indigenous knowledge, mind and body are not dissociated. Reasons and emotions are not dissociated. And this is pretty much how we artists think, right? We artists are not dissociating mind and body, and conscience and body, right? And imagination as well. So I think it's really important because of course of the problem of climate change, it's really important to have all human knowledge history and all strategies to learn what is going on to the planet, right? So trying to understand climate change through different senses, expanding our senses to understand it, right? Because through the word, through the words are very, very hard. You know, through narrative is also hard. Perhaps if we have ability to feel, we're going to improve better and we're going to face the Anthropocene better. And I think through indigenous knowledge, we really could develop this that we call instinctive knowledge or sensible knowledge to understand what is going on to the planet. Okay, for me, art and science doesn't exist itself, you know, because when you understand, when you start to understand the scientific field and practice, and also the artistic practice, you understand that it's both the same, you know. They are both trying to create knowledge about the world, making questions, and go deep to us in a theme or a subject. So it's a different they operate through different institutions and different methodology, but sometimes not even the methodologies. Sometimes the methodology is the same, right? So I think this dichotomy, it's also a construction of the modernity period. So as we understand, like separated man and nature, nature and culture. It's interesting that how we were raised history, right? We are raised totally history, the history of humans and the history of non-humans, right? So here we can see like the trace of the history of nature, right? But we cannot see the history of the past humans that were here. And this means that we are learning this landscape through very recent, right? So all the technology, all the knowledge that thousands of years people ago were developing got totally lost. So this put Patagonia in a condition of very like poor knowledge, poor knowledge of their landscape. In Brazil, in the Amazon, we are like collaborating with this amazing indigenous philosopher, indigenous anthropologist, or even indigenous shamans that really can teach us about the past landscapes and nowadays landscape, the history of Amazon, and how they develop a strategy really to understand it. So it's amazing to have this memory. It's like I started in 2013, and when we started in a very like basis condition, like the condition that imagine in 2013 was really hard, this project, at least in Brazil, project that were combining two disciplines. So was really hard to engage the scientific community to the project because, it's not like nowadays that it's really trendy to work with other fields. But back there, we were like, really had to convince the scientists to be engaged with us, and also the approach was totally different. The approach was very hierarchical, right? They were like giving lectures to us. We still have this kind of sets, where the scientists give us a lecture because they are trained to give lectures, right? I think our thoughts and our way of communicating is different. Communicating knowledge is different, right? It's through art, through sensibilities, not through our oratorial approach like science, right? So when we start was pretty much like we are like doing the visualization of their work, or trying to give other layers of sensibilities to their work, but the work was already done. And now we are in this phase that's trying to combine the pairs to make questions together. How art and science can really make questions together, and answer these questions together. So this put us in a condition, a more equal condition, more transversal condition. But this is really, really hard, a hard task, because then other things are involved, right? Because it's the things of, if they don't have the same repertoire, if they don't have the same language, meanings for many concepts are totally different between the fields. And also if they don't have empathy, or if they don't want to study the same thing, because this is another issue, right? Because we really have to have the same interest. So this is really hard to, those are conditions really hard to have it. But when we have it, like magic happens, Well, it's amazing to be here because, of course, when you are like in an icon like Patagonia, like the Amazon is also iconic landscape, and then how those iconic landscape were built, what kind of narrative builds this place. So this is wonderful because wonderful to be able to compare, and to dialogue this difference between these two different iconic places on Earth. Also to be able to understand the historical aspect of it and how colonization was really helping to invent those landscapes, because it's an invented landscape as well, and like the Amazon. And it's also interesting to see how environments are being shaped, especially for this last century, right? That was a lot of impact, human impact, you can see, the traces in the environment. So this is also nice to see, because the Amazon, the traces are not evident, or the traces is still nature, still very natural. And here, no, here it's super beautiful. You get overwhelmed by the beauty, by the landscape, by the phenomena, the water, the ocean, the rain, the lights, full of light. In the horizon, we are full of possibilities of horizon. But then in this hidden landscape, there is a history of a very violent history that we are learning to read, right? I think we are here to facilitate those conditions that I just mentioned to you. The condition of empathy, the condition of learning with each other, the condition of making questions together and trying to be interested in something that the other is doing it, to learn with the difference. We are here to learn with the difference.